Welcome to the 20th episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. Welcome back to our returning viewers, and for those of you who are watching us for the first time, welcome. Today our adventure takes us all the way to Edinburgh, Scotland, and what a trip that was.
It was amazing, yes.
What a wonderful city that is. But before we begin, Colleen will talk a little bit about what we're wearing.
So I'll talk first of all about what I'm wearing. So as we showed on the last podcast, there was a set of earrings and a necklace that we found in the west end of Glasgow at a place called SS Argento. I love it. The necklace is good, and the earrings are a little nice if you want to be a little bit more elegant, I guess.
They look great on though. It's a good match.
Thank you so much. So I'm enjoying wearing them. Once again, still a little warm outside, but that's okay. The other thing that's happening is May is wearing a cowl, and this is the Agent 99 cowl by Dawn Mawer.
And I love it already. Like, I haven't worn it that much all day, but the feel of it and the style of it, I love it.
It really, really suits you. You like white because it brightens you up. The yarn is Sirdar Amalfi.
Now this yarn we got in Saltcoats.
In Saltcoats, which is where you were living when you were, well, where you were born.
Yeah, where I was born. So it has a lot of meaning. So every time I put this on, I'm going to think, that's my Saltcoats scarf.
That's right.
So thanks for that.
You're welcome. So the yarn itself is 75% cotton and 25% viscose. It's white, and it's got a little fleck of navy blue and light blue. I think that's why it looks so nice on you. I still have about 30 grams left. That comes in 50 gram balls. I bought 2 because I wasn't sure how much. I needed a little bit about the second one, so I've got to figure out something that I can use for that. So if anybody has an idea, it's about 30 grams of double knitting. Something that I could make with it, that would be great. That's what we're wearing, and next we're going to talk about our finished objects. My first finished object is a shawl. It's actually called the Willow Branches Wrap. It's by Elizabeth Britten, and it is made out of Corsica, which is 90% cotton and 10% cashmere, and that cashmere makes all the difference.
That's why it feels so soft.
It is, and it's made with 3 different colors.
Love the colors.
So we've got to get the right side forward. There we go. Okay. So there it is. So there's a little bit of a gray blue, we were having that conversation, right. A little bit of a dusty pink, and then there's kind of a beige color in there. So there's stripes. It is a little bit of a fade, not quite, and then you pick up and knit along here. Now initially I had picked up as the pattern said. I'll let you hold that. Okay. I'd picked up how the pattern said. I had knit what I needed to do, and I didn't like this ending how it did, so I took it off. And then I looked at it and I went, that border needs to be there. So I changed up how I picked up the number of stitches, and I'm really, really happy with how it is. It is that cashmere just adds a little softness to the cotton, and I'm really happy with that.
It's going to look great on. I love the colors of this. It's very soft. The colors are very subtle.
Yes.
They blend in very nice though.
I really, really like that.
Very nice job on that.
Thank you so much. Now the next one is called Fractal Danger by Martina Behm, and the yarn that I used is yarn that May and I dyed. It is a single ply. Oh my goodness. Wow. The shape of this thing is unbelievable.
But it works for the color of the yarn.
It does.
We've talked about that before. This is wonderful. I cannot believe we dyed that yarn.
I know. I'm going to ask May to put in a picture here so you can see what this looked like when I blocked it. The nice thing is it opens up the little bit of yarn overs, and I think it's going to be great. It's soft. I love that when you wash in something like soak, what it does is it softens the yarn because it's a conditioner, and I also like how blocking opens it up. I'm really, really happy with that.
Some of the way it goes, it looks like a leaf almost.
It does.
It's beautiful.
So it's not that I'm hoping for winter, but I'm hoping it cools down a little bit so I can start wearing things. So that's that. My last official finished object is called the Baby Seawall Hat by Ingrid Mutsaerts. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. So there's a picture of a wee doll wearing it. And the reason why I did this was because I was talking to my niece, Meredith, who we've mentioned before, who lives in Calgary, and she started working with this pattern and she was struggling. She said, it's not making sense. There's something off on it. And my understanding is there's nothing off in the pattern, but I have to tell you honestly, I looked at the pattern, I tried to figure it out, and I thought it's complicated, and I think it's a little too complicated for
a new knitter.
So what I said to Meredith was, there's something called fisherman's rib, and I think you get away with it. So in order for me to know exactly how to explain that to her, I made one. So I used Loops and Threads Charisma. As you know, if you've been watching us, we're tucking things away because we're in that age where grandchildren are happening, not for us.
We wish.
So grandkids are happening for some
of our friends.
Some of the people that we're working with, they're having babies, so we want to have things prepared. So here is this cute wee hat, which I would ask May to put on, but I won't. So it's got a nice wee brim, and I like the Charisma because it's 100% acrylic. It's great, and the fisherman rib is going to help snug it in, but it's cushy, so I think it's going to be great on a wee baby's head.
It's different. It's a very different hat, different style.
Yeah, I really
turned out very well. Turned out nice, and it was really nice of an auntie to do that for your niece to do that to help her out. So what a nice auntie, but turned out nice. I think that'll be a great hat for a little child.
So we're going to tuck that away and do that.
Perfect.
Now the last thing I'm going to talk about is technically not a finished object because I already talked about it as a finished object. It is the Sweet Bee Socks by Jooles Hill, and I had made them for me, and I had used Khusku by Mirasol. Lovely yarn. It's got bamboo in it. It's really, really nice bamboo and wool and nylon.
Sometimes it's hard when you hold those up. I know people said that you can't see too much.
I know. I don't have go-go gadget arms.
No, and it's hard with the camera if you bring the camera too close, too far. So we're kind of working on that.
Exactly.
But
so
it changes the focus sometimes too.
Okay,
so
we have to
be
work
careful.
on that.
You be careful. But.
So what I did after we had podcasted, I decided I was going to block them. So I have sock blockers. I washed them, put them on my sock blockers, and I thought, this is not working. Because my feet are 2 sizes smaller than yours, and these socks were almost too big for the blockers, and I thought, well, you're supposed to have negative ease, it's not working. So I said to May, please try on this wet sock, which isn't an easy thing to do. I said, try it on. Does it fit your foot? Because if it does, these socks are yours. And
I was happy.
Yes, these are May's sock blockers. And those socks are beautiful on those blockers. So they are officially May's socks. But I just wanted you to know that sometimes things happen like that. I'm so glad that she gets to have them. I'm not worried about that at all. I think for me it was the toe-up construction, and I have feet that they're half size different from one another, so that is always a little bit of an issue.
And they're also very straight shape, your feet. Like they don't kind of
I don't have
so
quite,
it's not just
this is not how my toe works.
Right.
So I think for me, because of the difference in the sizes of my feet, I need almost something with a pattern that like a ribbed sock or a blueberry waffle sock or Hermione's everyday sock, that kind of thing, because it tends to hold that in for me.
Well, I'm sorry for you, but I'm happy for me because I now have an extra pair of socks. They're awesome. They feel great.
I think you'll really like them.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
So that's my finished objects. Next we're going to talk about May's finished objects.
Yes, May doesn't have any finished objects. That's the pause.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I don't have any finished objects. I've been very busy and I just haven't had time, but not to say that I'm not going to have some for the next podcast, but I'm not going to beat myself up.
You can do that.
But there will be first the next one, I hope.
Perfect. So next we're going to talk about works in progress. My first work in progress actually looks like it's done, and it's close to done. I loved this knit so much that I kept knitting and knitting and knitting. It went really, really quickly. What it's knit out is Wonderland yarns, which is a sport weight 100% superwash merino. There it is. And this is the Mice in the Tea colorway. So I apologize for all the strings. It's not done. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm putting it here. So if you take a look at this, it is such a neat construction. So you start way over there at this burgundy kind of tip, and you knit all of this all the way over to this gray tip, and then you pick up this green along this edge. That's what you do next. And then it's a series of short rows. So I don't know if you can see. So that's how thick it is on that side. And May, if you can hold that one close, that's how thin it is on that side. So it's a really neat construction. Now this needs to be blocked for sure. There's a few little bumps and things. Once I weave in ends, it will help. The other thing is it's garter. So I know, if you just give it a tug, I don't mind. If you pull it, you can see it's just going to open right up, and it's going to be soft, and it's going to be beautiful. I love the colors.
Right.
I am so thrilled.
No, I wouldn't have put those colors together, but they definitely work.
Exactly.
And those are the colors that were in the pattern that you used.
Exactly. And I had toyed about changing where the gray was, where the green was, but I'm really happy. I really liked the wrap as it was. It is the Mini Mad Wrap by Sharyn Anhalt. There you go.
Now, is that a free pattern, or do you have to purchase
No, this
that
is
pattern?
a purchased pattern, but I love it. And I would easily knit that again. I think I just really enjoyed it. You knit for so long, and then you change what you're doing. It's really, really well written. There was never a confusion about how that one was going to go. So I got to get rid of all those ends. I'm going to block it, and then I'm going to show it to you next episode. So that's that one. Now, the second one, and the last one this time, is once again the Agent 99 Cowl by Donna Mawer. And first of all, Donna and Lisa of the Codependent Knitters, so funny. Oh my goodness, I love to watch them, so that's fantastic. We had a chance to meet Dawn when we went to the store Feather Your Nest. It was so much fun.
Seems like a really nice person.
She's lovely. And I made this cowl for you, and that's your Saltcoats cowl.
And that's from the pattern that you just used there?
Exactly. And I wanted to have a Saltcoats cowl too.
Now, is it a paid pattern, or is it?
It is a paid for pattern. It is paid for pattern. It's a beautiful
I would pay
pattern.
for this pattern. I'm just saying, if I knit, I would pay for this pattern.
Now, I made mine a little bit bigger, and I made mine out of different yarns. So this is Creative Sport Print DK. It's 50% cotton, 50% acrylic.
Did you still get this yarn in Saltcoats?
This was still in Saltcoats, still at the wool sack. Oh my goodness, so good. And what I like about this, it is not a gradient, but it has that look about it. So I'm needing to have just that part right in the center.
There you go.
That's the one. You can see I'm almost done. Once again, this one knits so quickly. This is DK. The pattern is worsted, but I really like how this comes out. This yarn is really, really soft, and it's going to sit nicely like yours. I made mine a little bit longer.
Right.
But I really, really like it.
It's going to look great on you. Maybe next time we can wear them both together.
I think so.
And just to see the difference and
exactly
length.
That's right. That would be
how
great.
They sit. But I love how it goes. You're right. It's like a gradient, but it's not a gradient.
I know. This yarn, I've never seen it in Canada. But oh my gosh, it's soft and the color just changes. I think it's perfect for this pattern. So Dawn, thank you for the pattern. It is brilliant. So those are my works in progress. And next we're going to talk about our adventure.
Our adventure, as you know, took us to Edinburgh, Scotland. And did you know what an amazing trip that was?
It was beautiful. Weather was fantastic. Oh, we lucked out.
Yes. And Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland, and it has a population of about 513,000.
Okay.
There's a whole region, though, that is about 1.3 million.
Oh,
that covers a larger area.
Okay.
Tons of history there. You can just tell by the buildings. They're old.
They're magnificent.
Yeah, and I think there's so much to capture. Like, I don't think I'm going to do it justice. If you want to know more about Edinburgh, I would suggest that you go into Wikipedia or get some information on the internet, because it dates back to the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, way back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so lots of history there, and again, I'm not going to do it justice, but they have buildings, they have museums, and they have the university, and they have Edinburgh Waverley Station in itself has a whole history.
Oh,
Edinburgh Castle has a whole history. That they found in 1990 of Edinburgh Castle that, again, they found it, but they didn't have a lot of evidence just to confirm this, but there's found some things from the Bronze Age and the Iron Age.
Oh.
And it sits on a volcano. Edinburgh Castle sits on a volcano.
Oh my goodness.
That was there 350 million years ago, this volcano.
Oh, wow.
Now, about 1100, it's been there for about over 1100 years, the castle itself. And so it's really, because of all the maybe the battles and different things, it's probably known over the world for the place that's had the most battles in it.
Oh, wow.
Because it's been there for so long.
I'm not sure that's a good thing to be known for, but that's good.
But, you just think about all the history there, and not just one piece, the castle itself.
Exactly. And you had always told me, when we talk about where we live and history, and she said, okay, you got to go to Scotland. You haven't seen history until you've seen Scotland.
Yeah.
So you were right.
Yeah, it is just an amazing place. The history there. Now we walked down the Royal Mile, which is Edinburgh Castle's in one part of it, and then there's Holyrood Castle on the other end. And Colleen and I were able to walk up and down that and see all the little stores.
It's quite a steep walk up, that's for sure.
Yeah, even the history in Holyrood Castle was amazing down.
Exactly.
I didn't realize it was such a slope.
Yeah.
Myself,
Exactly.
I thought it was kind of straight, but I have to remember that. And Edinburgh Castle too, just before I forget, is they hold a military tattoo every August. Now I haven't been able to go to that, which is absolutely out of this world. You're hearing all these pipe bands. We were there in July, so we never really got to see that. But again, I think we would go back to that. I think it was
Absolutely,
a great place.
great.
Now Holyrood Castle itself, it is for the the elite, and I believe the Queen goes there on her vacation. And we got to go through that castle. And what did you think of that castle?
It was beautiful. It was really, really pretty. They had a really neat guided tour, so you had a little thing that you could put in your ears, and you just press the button, and then it would tell you something specific about that area, and then you could go to the next one, and you'd press a different number, and it would tell you about that. So obviously, we can't go to everything that's there, but the history, the tapestries, the carpets, the furniture, oh my goodness,
that's what stuck in my mind. There's the tapestries on the wall and the history and how old they were.
Yeah.
Alan Ramsay was a poet and a playwright, and there's a monument, and I believe we took a picture of him, so I'll put it in if I can show you that, if I can find that photo. And he was a poet, and he used to nickname Edinburgh Auld Reekie. Apparently, well, I think it's because it was an industrial city, and they used to say there was a cloud of smoke over it.
Okay.
And Robert Burns used to use the Latin name of it. His Latin name was Edina. Edina?
Maybe.
And he refers to Edina in his poems, and that's what he's referring to as Edinburgh Castle. The Latin thing. So there you
do
go.
such great research.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
well, considering like the amount of research involved in this would be unbelievable. Now we saw tram cars when we were there. We didn't go on a tram car, but it looked a little bit more modern than compared to everything else that was going on there. And the tram cars were built and actually in production in 2014, so it is fairly recent.
Absolutely.
They cost 540 million. They estimated 540 million, but it ended up costing over $1 billion for that because I think there was some hit the city and some issues with the contractor who was building it, and it ended up costing close to $1 billion. But they are nice, and they have kind of blended them in sort of.
That's right.
With the city. Sean Connery was born there, and the Bay City Rollers and the Proclaimers. They're all from Edinburgh. People that you might know, people that we would know in our era. And we did a lot of walking there because the weather again was absolutely amazing, wasn't it?
It was
amazing. On our way to the museum, we did so much walking, a lot of walking. By mistake, we did go by Greyfriars Bobby.
Oh, I know.
And there was a pub there. And then there was a dog out there, and everybody was touching its nose. And I'm going to put some photos up of Colleen and I doing that also. And the story behind Greyfriars Bobby, and your mom had told us the story prior to us going here.
That's right.
And again, I'm not going to do the story justice, but in 1850, there was a man named John Gray. He was originally a gardener. He couldn't get any work as a gardener in Edinburgh, so he joined the Edinburgh Police Force as a night watchman.
Okay.
And he had this little dog, a Skye Terrier, and the little Skye Terrier and him was very familiar around the streets. They would walk in the evenings, and little Bobby was the dog's name, and that was kind of like his guard dog. Well, in 1858, John passed away from TB.
Oh.
Yes, and the dog he was buried there. I'll show you the picture of the gravesite. He was buried there, and the dog wouldn't leave the gravesite, except for other people in the community he would leave to get fed, and then he would go back and sit at the gravesite. So that was quite familiar. But then in Edinburgh in 1867, it was the law that all dogs had to have a license. So a lord, city person, I believe, his name escapes me, but he bought the license for little Bobby and the collar in bronze and had it in bronze. And it's in the museum. We didn't see it when we went to the museum, but it's in the museum.
Oh, wow.
the actual collar itself, and he put it on Bobby. So the community all pitched in and helped, and watch, and it became, and it's supposed to be good luck when you touch the nose.
Yeah,
I don't know if that
statue.
came on.
It's hard. You have to really reach up.
Right.
I'm not tall. You're not tall, so you have
Right.
to really reach up. But it's fun to watch people. And
It was quite the little spot, and that's what kind of brought our attention to it, because all the people.
exactly, that's right.
Now, Bobby the dog did that for 14 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. So I think Bobby died in 1873, I believe. I don't have my notes with me, but yeah. He died. No, he died in 1872.
Okay.
So there you go. So that's a
Good
fact.
stuff.
Yeah. So that's the story of Bobby. Very good little story. We went on. We wanted to get some good photographs, and we got some amazing photographs. And we thought we would go on the Ferris wheel. And when we were down on the ground, it sounded like an amazing and wonderful idea.
Yes, we kind of talked each other into going, so it was good.
But then when we got actually in it and we were on the top, it wasn't such a great idea.
So what happens, as you will know, is on a Ferris wheel, they kind of move you up while they're putting other people on. And the problem is we were one of the first people on that ride, so we were stuck at the top for a little while. And we have a lovely picture of May. And she's going to insert it
yes,
now.
I could do a face like it, but I won't do it justice because I was actually very scared. It was very high. It didn't look that high from the ground.
I know. She basically said, don't breathe. Just don't breathe.
But we got some great pictures of
And
Edinburgh.
once it started going around, it was beautiful. We
Yeah.
had a good time. So
Our accommodation there, it was called Student Castle, and it was kind of in an industrial area, and I think students probably stay there, but talk about the cleanest, most amazing cleanliness I've ever seen.
I know, it was like a little dorm room. So there was a cooktop, there was a microwave, there was...
Little washroom, little sink.
Yep.
And what happens, it was kind of, at the beginning we were kind of pushing a button thinking, what have we gotten ourselves into? You had to push a button to get in. The person came. They were
That's right.
so kind, so polite. We navigated our way around from number 8 bus, I remember.
Yep.
And for £3 or £3.50.
For a day. It was brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, we were able to navigate back and forth to that place
Yeah,
a couple of
absolutely.
days. We ate at beautiful restaurants. We had actually Italian in Scotland. Can you believe it?
It was really good lasagna. I know you and I were sitting there going, yeah, steak and pie. No, lasagna.
And it was
good.
recommended by some of the locals
Exactly.
where to go there.
I think it was the lady in Marks and Spencer.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Lady and Marks and
Must
Spencer
have recommended the Italian
recommended
store.
it. Yeah.
And it was, the restaurant was so good.
Yeah. And lots of shopping in Edinburgh. Just lots of things to do. Waverley, like we sat and had a drink at Waverley Station there. We had some live music.
I know, it was so nice. And the weather was good. So we really got to enjoy the outside and the
Right.
walking and
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
Is there anything else that sticks in your mind about Edinburgh that we could be sharing? I mean, there was so much.
I think when you see the size of Edinburgh Castle and where it's situated, I think you could stay there and take picture after picture after
Right.
picture. And you just want to capture what it looks like and how it feels. And the energy of the city is amazing and people were friendly and it was really, really good.
Yep. So I highly recommend having a visit there. Transportation was great, easy to access.
Absolutely.
Like photographs don't do it justice at all. And food was good. Life was great. So get an opportunity ever to go there. I would highly recommend that place. We had a
So
great time.
there is the Edinburgh Yarn Festival.
Oh, well, we could go there.
There we go. Another adventure. We're ready to go. Not this year, but we'll be ready to go.
So Colleen can talk about the yarn stores. Which one did we visit first? Was it the Ginger Twist Studio or was it Kathy Knits?
It was Ginger Twist Studio. So we actually lucked out in that one store was open one day and the other store was open the other day. Like they had closed on alternate days. So it worked out really well. We did a lot of walking and that's good.
And we only did get to spend 2 days there. And so we did a lot in the 2-day period.
Absolutely, we
Right.
did. So let's talk first of all. The first store that we went into is Ginger Twist Studio, and that is owned by Jess James, and she's originally from Oregon, and she has moved there, and she has this little tiny shop, but it is so sweet and so lovely, and she has everything put away. It doesn't feel cluttered. It looks
For
great.
a small space, it was wonderful.
Exactly. So she carries a lot of West Yorkshire spinners yarns. It's great. Sheepish sock, Kalinka linen, Brooklyn tweed, woolly knits. And she herself dyes yarn. And so when you see our souvenirs, you're going to see that yarn. which was good. She also works with a person who does some designing, whose name is Claire Devine. They make a great team because the yarns together with the patterns that they have are fantastic.
Now,
and
does she have a book out that she was the model in that book?
she does, and you're going to see that in Souvenirs.
Oh, okay.
And actually, there's more books that Claire Devine has done that uses some of her yarns. And Jess dyes yarns, Ginger Twist Studio yarns, and they are beautiful, and the colors are lovely. She's really got such a great style, and she's so friendly, and it was really, really nice to meet her. So we really enjoyed that.
It was a beautiful part of Edinburgh, too.
Exactly.
So we had a wonderful walk that. It was quite far from the city center
Right.
for walking.
Right.
But it ended up being a lovely area.
It was fantastic. It was beautiful. And I love the color that she's painted it. Like, it just was, it's kind of when you go and you see somebody's website and you think, oh, it's so nice. And then when you go to the store, it's even better than the website. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
We really had a good time.
Yeah. Thanks, Jess.
Yes. So we did that the one day. And then the next day we went to Kathy's Knits. And it's not too far from where the Ginger Twist Studio is, but it's a little bit further down a hill. So we did a lot of down the hill, but then you had to go walk back up the hill. But Kathy's Knits was lovely. Kathy and her husband owned the shop.
They bought that shop when they retired.
I know. Can you imagine
Can you
doing that
imagine?
when you retire?
Wow.
Okay, that's a lot, but she does such a great job. Once again, personable. I really find the knitting community amazing, and everybody seems to be so welcoming, and so she was lovely. Now, she has this lovely long list, and so I'm going to read some. She has Jameson and Smith, Barbara Mew, J.C. Rennie, New Lanark, West Yorkshire Spinners, Easy Knits, Eden Cottage Yarn, Blacker Yarns, Woolly Knit. She has it all. And she started knitting when she was in elementary school. She actually started selling her knitting when she was in elementary school because what she was knitting, all the kids wanted. And so she's been knitting for a long time, and she's got great advice, and she picks out great yarns, and there's lots of choices there. So I really had a good time in that store as well.
Yeah, it was a great store, and I enjoyed sitting on the couch in there and reading. It was great.
I know. It was good. Patterns everywhere. What I really like about what we've seen in Scotland is all the patterns. And we have patterns here. I think probably we do more Ravelry kind of patterns, but they have lots of patterns sitting out and books to look through and those kind of things. So it's really, really good.
Great experience. Lovely store.
Yes.
Can't say enough about it. Can't say enough about the people there. It was just
we had a great time.
2 days of absolute bliss, and the weather was just, when the weather's good somewhere, you can't beat that.
Exactly.
We didn't have our umbrellas or brollies, and now we did. Well, just before, I don't know if we talked a little bit about. I don't want to interrupt your story.
Oh no,
about your stores,
yeah.
but we did talk a little bit about going back. J. Rollins.
Exactly.
We walked by that.
Yeah. So when we found Greyfriars Bobby, we were walking along, and then all of a sudden there was a store, like this restaurant, coffee shop kind of thing. And it's called the Elephant House. And so there's all these people milling around. And then I went, oh, May, that's where J.K. Rowling, the lady who wrote all the Harry Potter books, that's where she sat. So she didn't have a lot of money at the time, so she could go order a cup of coffee, and she would sit in there and she would write and write and write and write. And that's where she wrote the book. So everybody wants to go in and take a picture. So it was jam full. We didn't go in and take a picture. We just took a picture of the outside.
That's
so that when you see the Elephant House and wonder why are they taking a picture of the Elephant House?
That's why.
That's why. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter, not a yarn store.
Yeah, so all this history and all that's there.
It's
Like
really
she was
cool.
actually there, which is amazing.
I know. It is.
And also we walked by Conan Doyle pub.
That's right. On their way up from where Kathy's Knits is, there was it is the Conan Doyle pub, and I said, oh my gosh, Conan Doyle. And she says, what are you talking about? I said, well, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is the man that wrote the Sherlock Holmes books. And so I thought that was really good.
How did you know that?
I don't know.
Who knows that?
I don't know. I know things. I don't know why. But anyway, so it was neat that they've used that name, and so it was neat to see. It looked like a nice pub.
It looked like a nice pub. We didn't go in there. We could have gone everywhere. my stomachs couldn't take it.
No, I know. That millionaire shortbread, yes.
So we had millionaire shortbread, of course. We went to Starbucks. They had Starbucks there. They had Subway there. They had all the things that we can get here. Yeah. Great city. Great stores.
I love
yarn stores were wonderful.
And I'm really glad we took 2 days there. We probably could have taken 3 or 4, but I'm glad we had 2 days there.
that was our adventure in Edinburgh, Scotland. And now Colleen will talk about our souvenirs.
We had a lot of fun at
Yes, we
the yarn
did.
stores, but our very first souvenir had nothing to do with yarn. Well, it wasn't supposed to. So I said to May, you know, we've got to take notes and write down what we've been doing. And I went, oh my goodness, I don't have
Neither
a
one
pen.
of us had a pen.
So I said, oh, I'll go get a pen.
We had to buy a pen.
So when I went to find a pen, I thought, oh my gosh, look at this pen. So I'm going to try and hold this up and hopefully you can see it. So there's the wee sheep.
And Colleen
It's attached to the end.
You came back proud as punch. I got us a pen, and there's a sheep at the end.
Exactly.
It only cost us $6 million, but
It wasn't that much money, but it's cute and I like it. So there's the pen that we found. So we were able to take lots of notes. So that was our first souvenir, technically. Oh my goodness, it was fun. We had a good time. So as we mentioned, the first day we went to the Ginger Twist studio, had a lovely time with Jess James. That's her name, so I like it. And I was looking at this book. So it's called A Neighborhood Sheep Society, Volume 2 by Claire Devine. So that is a picture of Jess, actually. She's the model of all of these, and Claire Devine is the designer. And there are 4 lovely patterns in here. And I really liked the gray and the burgundy. I find sometimes gray, and if I wear gray, I look gray. And so I thought if I
burgundy kind of brightens it up a little bit.
Exactly. So the one on the front cover has those 2 colors in it. So I'm kind of trying to decide between that shawl, if you'll just give me a second, and then I'm almost there. This is the one. I think I might want to do this one. So it's really hard to figure out because they're both beautiful. They both use the same yarn. This one has a little bit of mosaic knitting and I've never done it, so I would like to try. So if any of you have ever done mosaic knitting, if you will comment below and tell me what you think. Is this a great way to start? Should I try something easier? Is there an intro pattern that does mosaic knitting? Because I like the idea of color work with not necessarily carrying the floats the same way as you do when you're working with color work. So comment below, I would appreciate that. So here are the yarns. This yarn it's called Ginger's Hand Dyed Tweed Treat DK. It's 100% merino wool.
Now did Jess dye this or you're not sure?
Yes,
She
no,
did?
Jess dyed
Wow.
both of these. I really enjoyed speaking with her and I wanted to have a chance to work with her yarns, and it is DK and it's beautiful. This is the color Dove and this is the color Lallybroch. Now do you know why Lallybroch is important?
I don't, but you're going to tell me.
I am. So if any of you have ever watched Outlander, Lallybroch is a place in the Outlander series.
And I've watched Outlander, but that doesn't really stick in my mind.
I know. So
Wow.
I love that color. And when I pair them, I think it's going to be beautiful. So I am thrilled with that. I was really, really pleased, and I'm glad I have that book because I've got lots of 2 colors, right? So you tend to have single skeins, and if you can put them together, there's things you can do with those.
So we can call this my Solcoat scarf.
Yes.
And you can call this your Outlander scarf.
Or my Edinburgh shawl.
Oh, your Edinburgh shawl.
One of those things. And I have one thing that we got, which is such a surprise in our life, which is soap from Marks and Spencer's.
Oh.
We were waiting, at one point in time, we were waiting for some place to open, or we weren't quite ready for dinner yet. I don't know, we ate all the time, so I don't know. So anyway, so we went into Marks and Spencer, had a little look around, and then I found this soap, and it smells, I'll let you smell.
And that's where the lady recommended the Italian
Restaurant. So I'm glad we went to get soap because
That
we
smells
found
so
out.
good. I want to smell more. It smelled so good.
It really smells nice. There's
Oh,
3
nice.
little soaps in there.
Mm. Very nice.
Yeah, it is. So,
Yeah.
once
nice. And
again,
it's taped,
I
so you
think-
can't open it.
Yeah.
So
There we
Okay.
go.
Wow.
So that is from Marks and Spencer.
yes, very
Yep.
nice.
I think she likes it.
I
so
like
that's
it.
good.
I like it a lot. I'm going to be using that soap.
All right. So that was one day, and then we went to Kathy's Knits, and she had, as I mentioned earlier, all kinds of things. So oh my goodness, didn't even know where to start. She carries Knit Pro Zings, and you can get these in Canada. There's a 2.25, and that lovely purple one is a 3.75. You can get these in Canada, but they're a little more expensive. So when I saw them there, I thought I'm going to get a couple of sizes that I use a lot. And then this is for socks. This I'll probably use for a shawl. And so I was thrilled with those. I was able to get those. And I have these lovely little, they're called removable stitch markers. So it's the way that they're designed. I'm hoping you can see this. I'm going to fall over if I'm not careful. There we go. And so the way that they're looped, it's almost like it's a clip that'll open and you can put them on. It's not like the safety pin or the bulb ones that I usually use, so I'm really, really thrilled about those. And to be honest with you, I put everything in the bag that we got from Kathy Knits and totally forgot that I bought that. So when I was thinking, what's there? So it was a surprise to me. So it's my souvenirs.
It's like Christmas for you.
It was like Christmas for me. So there is a man whose name is John Dunn Ballum, and he is the dyer between Easy Knits, co.uk, Knit with Color. And these are single ply, and it is luxurious yarn. It
Beautiful
is
color.
superwash merino, excuse me, and silk. Now, I know those colors. I like them together. It's a little bit more funky than I normally would use, but I really, really like them together. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to pair them. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to do something individual, but I loved the colors. And that's all she had, and I was thrilled because I thought I can do something with that. So I'm really, really, it's soft, and it has such a shine to it because of the silk.
Very thin. It's a thin yarn too.
If that's called a single ply.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at the stuff that we
Right.
got, this is more plies together. So
Right.
that's just a single ply.
The things I learned on this knitting show.
And then Kathy was a sweetie. She gave us a bag, which is called Kathy's
I love
Knits.
these bags. They're
I
so
know.
handy. They're light and you can
I
fit
know,
a lot
and
in
I
them.
love how this does, and it ends up being like a backpack. I might like to make one with some of my fabric that I have, so I think
that'd be a
might
great
try
idea.
that.
Yeah.
So it's really, really nice. I really, really, and that was kind of her to give that to us. So she was sweet. Jess at Ginger Twist Studios was sweet. We had a lovely time in Edinburgh, so thanks
We
again
did.
for another great adventure.
We did.
It was wonderful. Please, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, subscribe. Comment below. We'd like to hear from you, and you can let us know things you'd like to see. If you have any ideas of patterns or any ideas of introductory patterns for mosaic knitting, that would be great and be helpful to me. I love that. And if you like what you're seeing, give us that lovely thumbs up, and we'd appreciate that as well. So until next time,
You take care.